Here is our Legends Ford with 3 pastel colors on the boot or trunk. How do we give them a reflective metallic effect? Start by copying the group containing these parts. Drag the copy up into the spec map red metallic group, below the car parts layer. We no longer want the color of these parts as we are not painting the car within the spec map. Within the spec map we are defining specular effects. We do this using red values to define shine, trending to metallic and then chrome. We use green to define roughness. There are many ways to change the color of our parts to red and green spec map values. We could simply flood fill color into these parts. You may need to do it that way in some programs. If you flood fill red 32, green 0 and blue 0, that's a low shine or metallic effect. If you flood fill red 180, green 0 and blue 0, that's a high shine and metallic effect. Same principle applies to the green roughness layer. The more intense green is, the rougher the texture. Here within Affinity Photo I like to apply a color override to the group, and then use opacity to control the intensity of the effect. With our metallic parts group selected, we click on FX, then select the color override. Set the color to maximum red. Now set the layer opacity to 50%. Now make another copy of the metallic parts group. Drag it down into the green roughness group below the parts layer. Click on FX and select the color override as black, which is 0 red, green and blue. This gives no roughness, or to put it another way, a fully smooth surface. We can set the opacity to 100 as we want our parts to be fully black. Let's export the spec map and render it in the car viewer. And there you have it, a metallic boot hatch. The boot hatch has a much smoother surface than the car. The boot hatch is now very reflective. You can see cloud reflections in the paint. All 3 colors have darkened. To get the desired hue, lighten the base color within the paint layer. In addition to adjusting the base paint color, you can experiment with the spec map values. More red for more shine, more reflectivity, more metallic effect. For a metallic effect we typically use very low roughness values. Some roughness can be a good thing. Brushed aluminium and satin effects for example. This effect is nice, but it is not the same as metallic car paint which has speckles or reflective flakes within the paint. We can simulate that by adding noise to the paint layer. Let's go back to the metallic parts group within the paintable area. Select the yellow shape. Click the node tool. Click the fill color. Click the opacity button. Now we have a noise slider. Drag it to apply noise. Let's export the paint and render it in the car viewer. Here is our original metallic effect. Now we transition to the added noise. It's subtle but noticeable on larger areas and when closer to the car. With the right amount of noise, this technique can give very nice results. The color and size of the noise are also things you can change to get interesting effects. Within paint programs there are multiple ways to apply noise to a layer. Search YouTube for tutorials specific to your paint program. Here is an example on the Formula V.